Transport plays a crucial factor in Asia's future prosperity. Providing cost-effective travel for its people and products will open the door to a new era of economic growth. But what happens when a country lacks much of the infrastructure required to realize its full potential? This is the story of how Indonesia, a nation of 250 million people, is expanding its air and maritime infrastructure to allow it to take full advantage of the Asia century. And how this massive archipelago of nearly 18,000 islands adopts a strategy to revolutionize transport logistics by developing new ports, rail links, and expanding its airline industry.
The main challenge is how we keep up with the demand. The demand is growing so rapidly. That is a reflection of our economic situation as well.
It is a social and political vision which will build on Indonesia's strengths and help to consolidate its growing reputation as an economic powerhouse. If Indonesia's weak infrastructure is not addressed, it could undermine future rates of growth and hinder efforts to enhance equity and reduce the number of poor. Reducing costs through more efficient infrastructure will make Indonesia more competitive and open up other international markets, resulting in increased trade. It's a daunting challenge and one that will require a united approach by government agencies and the private sector. It'll also cost money, and that could provide attractive investment opportunities for those businesses keen to play a role in the anticipated infrastructure boom. Indonesia's geographical location makes it a crossroads for shipping, a meeting point of ocean transportation, especially cargo ships. Maritime cargo volumes are expected to grow by more than 6% over the next year, with the country's ports handling 90% of non-road freight traffic. With the ASEAN group of nations planning to form an integrated economic zone with fewer trade barriers by 2015, Jakarta is under mounting pressure to liberalize its own transport logistics sooner rather than later.
Demand for the logistic transport is very high. That is why we have to accelerate the development of ports.
Improved ports will also need better backup facilities. Support industries and agencies such as customs and container operations will need revamping if ports are to be made more efficient. This is Surabaya, home to one of the country's busiest seaports, Tanjung Perak, which is operated by Pelindo 3. Surabaya is the second largest city in Indonesia and capital of East Java province. In 2012, Surabaya's economic growth was 7.27% higher than the national figures. The international container terminal known as TPS, Terminal Petikas Surabaya, is operated under the partnership of Pelindo 3 and Dubai Port World. Pelindo 3 have applied numerous innovative solutions in Tanjung Perak port to meet the expected increased capacity. A new terminal known in Bahasa as Teluk Lamong is expected to boost East Java's position as a transport hub in Indonesia.
Ketika itu beroperasi, itu akan sangat membantu kongesti yang ada di Tanjung Perak Port. Kenapa demikian? Karena suplai armada untuk transportasi laut itu sudah sangat tinggi, tidak sebanding dengan terminal-terminal yang tersedia di Tanjung Perak Port Surabaya. Terminal Teluk Lamong itu bisa sangat membantu reduce untuk waiting time kapal-kapal yang ada di Tanjung Perak.
Teluk Lamong will be the first eco terminal in Indonesia. Most of our equipment will be fueled by electricity, and the truck serving the terminal also will be fueled by gas or CNG. So it means that this terminal will be minimizing the carbon emission. and Teluk Lamong will be the first semi-automatic terminal in Indonesia.
Pelindo 3's commitment to air cleanliness is also reflected in a bold new plan to overcome congestion and pollution caused by container trucks. It involves an automatic container transporter to transport trucks, better known perhaps as a monorail. A key partnership to solve logistics problems is the establishment of Java Integrated Industrial Port Estate, which is a partnership between AKR and Pelindo 3 in Gresik, East Java. It'll consist of a port and an industrial estate which will be built over several stages.
We believe that this operation will strengthen the position of Surabaya because this will be the first city who has an industrial park and port in the same location.
But of arguably even greater importance is the investment in human capital.
Training program is very important for this company to enhance the competence of the personnel. So that's why we are making quite a lot of training program inside the country and also overseas.
These innovations and developments are all part of its commitment to better logistics flow, which in turn will mean improved distribution and economic growth for Surabaya and Indonesia in general. However, there are still hurdles to clear. Indonesia's export shipping costs are among the highest in the ASEAN group of nations, and the lead time to export is the longest in Asia. But with more private-public sector partnerships, Indonesia's maritime fortunes could be about to turn. Let's now take a look at one of Indonesia's busiest ports in Jakarta, Tanjung Priok. It handles 60% of the country's trade and is run by state-owned Indonesia Port Corporation. Its largest container terminal, Jakarta International Container Terminal, commonly known as JICT, is operated by its affiliate, Hutchison Ports Indonesia.
We are twice winners of the Asian Freight and Supply Chain Awards in 2011 and 2012. We won Best Terminal Operator in Asia for the medium-sized category. So we beat a lot of prestigious competitors. And so I think that's an indication of how far JICT has come.
PT Hutchison Ports Indonesia, a wholly owned subsidiary of port investor, developer and operator Hutchison Whampoa Limited, will play a crucial role in continued expansion of JICT as the main gateway of the country.
We've just resolved a historical land acquisition issue, and we've just taken possession of around 4 hectares of land in JICT. The immediate future will require us to develop that land into additional stacking for containers, and also we're building a new automated gate facility, which will help to obviously improve the flow of traffic in and out of the terminal. That's in the immediate future.
As one of the world's most technologically advanced port operators, it is no surprise that Hutchison is introducing cutting-edge solutions to cover every aspect of its operations.
One is our terminal operating system called NGen, short for Next Generation, which is a Hutchison Ports proprietary system. Integrates our ship planning, our yard planning, and our vessel discharge and loading operations.
This investment in new technology and state-of-the-art handling equipment doesn't come cheap. Jakarta International Container Terminal has spent more than $250 million over the past decade, developing and improving its operating capability. However, these significant investments cannot succeed without the commitment of skilled professionals.
Since the concession started in April 1999, we've had a two-way training process. We have brought trainers in from our ports around the world to do structured and unstructured training here. But we've also sent over 400 employees, in fact, since 1999 to our other ports in the world to receive training.
I was sent by the company to Hong Kong for 6 months for training with our experienced manager from Hong Kong International Terminal.
Hutchison's long-term commitment to state-of-the-art port facilities could well provide an answer to at least some of Indonesia's maritime challenges. But more importantly, shipping isn't the only industry that's being streamlined under the government's grand vision.
We're talking with our joint venture partners, Indonesia Port Corporation, to see what else we can do in the longer term to further increase capacity and improve operating efficiencies.
Complementing the government's new $53 billion infrastructure strategy is a renewed emphasis on aviation.
Last year, we recorded more than 150 million of people using air transportations. So the potential is there because, again, as income raises, more people are willing and afford to fly.
More than any other mode of transport, airlines are the key to connecting all the many diverse parts of Indonesia. Some of the country's airports are already undergoing much-needed renovations, while other airports are being added to the network. The Ministry of Transport aims to build a number of major new airports by 2030. Soekarno-Hatta International Airport is Jakarta's main transport hub, moving around 60 million people a year.
We are not building only at the Soekarno-Hatta, but we are managing 13 airports at the western part of Indonesia. From those 13 airports, we are now building and expand 10 of them.
The lack of airport infrastructure not only inconveniences passengers, but also holds back the aviation industry's future expansion. These are heady times for Indonesia's airline industry as demand for international and domestic travel continues to soar. Based on current trends, international passenger numbers are expected to reach 75 million by 2020 and almost triple that by the end of the following decade. One of the biggest stakeholders in the aviation industry's expansion is Indonesia's national airline, Garuda.
Right now, we are hiring new cabin crews. Every day, we train almost about 300 of our employees round and round to develop them.
Garuda aims to transform itself into a 5-star airline, operating nearly 200 aircraft by 2015. It's already recruiting around 1,000 flight attendants a year, and between now and 2015, another 1,500 pilots. But of course, all that requires training, the sort of training that goes on in this aircraft mock-up here at Garuda's training facility in Jakarta. Thank you.
Enjoy your drink.
2 flight simulators have also been added to complement existing facilities here in the training centre, and that'll enable the airline to produce more skilled pilots at home, rather than having to send them overseas. In line with Indonesia's economic growth, Garuda is opening up new routes to align with the country's key trading partners, which will include 10 more routes between this year and next, including Australia and Japan. The long-haul expansion is made possible by the delivery of Garuda's first batch of 777-300ERs, the new flagship and the only aircraft in its fleet featuring a 3-class cabin with economy, business and first-class sections.
Garuda, we've invested a lot in safety. We hired consultants. Garuda is also one of the IATA safety, so our level of safety is almost the same with other global airlines.
But international recognition of its improved safety and service standards is not the end of it.
We invest in new technology, our new system, and then currently our aircraft on an average is about 5.8 years. Among the world airlines, I think our fleet is considered one of the youngest.
A strong commitment from management and employees has seen Garuda transform its business in recent years. The airline's reputation has already been recognized at international level, with Skytrax naming it the world's best economy class and including it in the list of the world's top 10 airlines this year. Garuda is committed to the government's infrastructure program and the growth of aviation support services, such as repair and maintenance support. Due to the lack of suitably qualified staff, most maintenance has had to be conducted outside the country in the past. But recently, that's begun to change. Indonesia's maintenance and repair companies are currently responsible for less than 30% of the country's maintenance work. The rest is outsourced abroad. GMF AeroAsia plans to increase its share of the work as the industry continues to expand. The company is the largest aircraft maintenance operator in Indonesia, with more than 60 years in the business, mastering the maintenance of the newest aircraft types, especially the Boeing 737NG series and the Airbus A320.
the number of aircraft is growing very rapidly. So I think for that situations and for that industry to grow healthy, we need aviation park.
Some countries develop their, what they call it, aviation park or aerospace park that can accommodate also not only the MRO industry but also the training for the supporting unit for the airline.
There is, of course, still the manpower issue. It takes more than 5 years to train a mechanic before they can operate independently, much longer than it takes to build a training facility. Over the next 2 years, GMF will recruit another 1,300 workers as their fourth hangar begins operations. One solution is provided through partnering with Airbus, which will become GMF's local maintenance training center in Indonesia.
Now we are sending our instructor to be trained and approved by Airbus. Working with Airbus is ramp up our maintenance, repair and overhaul services.
They are constantly being audited, not only internally but by NAAs from around the world. They are EASA recognised, they are FAA recognised. They're also recognised by many other countries whose people and companies bring their aircraft to GMF.
It's not only aircraft maintenance facilities that stand to gain from industry growth. Ground support operations such as PT JAS are also poised to benefit. Aviation infrastructure planning has identified the need for a reliable, highly capable and safe network which can support passenger mobility and the transportation of goods and services. JAS is the leading ground and cargo handling provider in Indonesia and has a strong presence in 12 of the country's major airports. It's no surprise that many international airlines such as Singapore, Cathay Pacific and Silk Air are now partnering with JAS, which was recently appointed ground handling operator of Tiger Airways. It's also been named operator of the new international cargo terminal at Bali's Denpasar Airport.
With JAS, from time to time we run incentive program, and also we have performance enhancement program, so to increase their awareness, be it in terms of customer service or in terms of security and safety.
We have to comply with many standards required by airlines, EASA from most European and Middle East, and we are certified ISAGO, which is IATA Safety Audit for Ground Operation in 2010.
Seeing the steady growth in international air cargo volume, along with passenger traffic in the last 5 years, JAS has introduced a system called JAX to ensure faster and better cargo handling. Human capital is equally important for improving efficiencies within the airports.
Most recently, in 2012, we established what we call the JAS Academy, where we train our new recruits into the workforce with the major processes, trainings, development required to service the airlines.
Long term, I think we need to expand quite significantly the build capacity of the airport. I think in the medium to short term, you can do quite a lot in terms of how you operate the airport to make it more efficient.
Operators like JAS depend largely on the government for the development of infrastructure.
I believe the government has been doing a very good job in expanding the overall capacity, but there has to be, I think, private sector participation in order to be able to speed up this process.
For many infrastructure projects, large-scale financing can be especially important, but long payback periods and inadequate project preparation can sometimes make it difficult to attract private sector funding. The government's first major attempt to overcome these obstacles was in February of 2009, when the Ministry of Finance created PT Sarana Multi-Infrastructure. Acting as a catalyst in the acceleration of Indonesia's existing infrastructure development program, it works with its subsidiary, PT Indonesia Infrastructure Finance, to match supply.
We can be acting as a strategic partner to do the commercial financing as well as the advisory services and including the project preparation.
The key challenge that remains is how to structure good projects for the private sector to come in and invest. And there, institutions like PTSMI, IIF and IFC, we are playing a leading role along working with the government of Indonesia to help them structure projects.
Many stakeholders are involved in these big schemes. PTSMI aims to create synergy between the banks and private investors. The fact that PTSMI has a proven track record with a multitude of players has reinforced its credibility. This year, Fitch upgraded its national long-term rating to AA+, reinforcing PTSMI's reputation for stability.
We try to combine the culture of the governments and the culture of private sector. So really I put SMI high in terms of accelerating our PPP project on infrastructure developments.
One of the biggest projects that currently our company is working on is the railway project to the airport.
The express rail link between the airport and the city will cost $2 billion and carry 40,000 passengers a day. It'll cut the travel time between the airport and the city to about 20 minutes, compared to well over an hour on this busy and congested thoroughfare. The rail link will have significant social and economic benefits, as well as guaranteeing the airport's sustainable growth. It'll also create better business opportunities for Jakarta by funneling more skilled workers into the CBD, thereby increasing productivity. Indonesia's grand strategy to improve infrastructure on land, sea and in the air will take several years, if not longer, to realise. It'll also require a massive investment in financial and human resources, which the government can't do on its own. That's why private investment is so essential.
So this is actually our biggest challenge, how the governments can really bring this private sector in front to accelerate our infrastructure development, because the government cannot do that alone.
In the final analysis, there is no alternative to Indonesia's vision. With the population due to rise to more than 300 million by the year 2050, getting the right infrastructure in place is going to be essential if this country is to maximize its full potential. It's a monumental challenge for such a large and sometimes unwieldy country, with political and social problems also vying for its attention. Indonesia's national motto is unity in diversity. The next decade will show whether that same sentiment can apply to the many competing interests within its transportation infrastructure. Indonesia's prosperity and the fortunes of its 250 million people are depending on it.